I don't want to give all our future product ideas away, but it's always been on the cards for us.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the eSKATE Chat podcast. We're just going to talk about all things eSKATE on this one.
Yeah, sounds fun.
If you've watched the last couple episodes, you might have noticed I've been doing these with a pretty terrible background. It was just a bed sheet. That's because we're on lockdown at the moment.
We are stuck in New South Wales, and where we live is like right on the border where Queensland is. So we literally cannot get across the border to Queensland, where it's exactly where Evolve is. So we can't get to work, and I can't even get my kids to school at the moment. So it's a really interesting time. We've been in this for 2 weeks now, and it's not looking as though it's going to let up anytime soon. So, yep, we've been getting creative.
So for the non-Australians, that pretty much means we live in a different state to where Evolve is. So most of the staff are going to work as normal. The business is running completely as normal.
Yeah.
But we're 50 kilometres, not even that. I'm 5 kilometres over the border.
Yeah, well, it's 40 kilometres to get to work, and it's this invisible line that goes across, and this line dividing both states is it's like right in the middle of this massive community, like Gold Coast, Tweed. It's all joined. It's almost like one massive town, and so no one from Tweed can get over. It's ruined so many lives the last few weeks. There's just devastation, bad stories, people getting stuck, businesses going under, really sick patients not being able to get the care that they need. And they've really tightened the restrictions on what essential work means. So yeah, it's quite stressful. Yeah, it's a weird place. It's really hitting home now for us, and yeah, hopefully things ease up soon, and we'll see.
So we've been able to make work, but also you've been doing a lot of writing, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, we've had been in lockdown now for this long. Trying to manage the business from home, we can do it. Luckily, we've got a really solid team and a great crew, but it's not the same. Want to get to work, want to see everyone in person. Build that culture and be part of the team. But it's just hard to do it from home. I just want to be there. It's like destroying me. So, been writing a lot. I reckon 3 times a day. It's great because it's like allowing me to clear my mind. I go for these early morning walks, I reckon at 6 a.m. and I go for about 45 minutes down near the beach and try to get my mindset right for the day. How does my day look? What tasks have I got on? Who do I need to speak to? What's my priority list? I wrap that through my head first. Get home, get the kids running for school, get them sorted, work with my wife Fleur, obviously trying to manage our days, and then once that's all free, bang, I'm on the skateboard, I'm riding. And I reckon the last 3 weeks I've probably done about 320 Ks, which is a fair amount. And there's been specific reasons for it. Riding for fun. I've been trying to just make sure that everything is just mint in terms of all the firmware and hardware on the boards. And I've just been having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, it's good. I've seen you sent into a few photos and whatnot.
That leaderboard, it's so fun. And then you're watching these other people over in New Zealand too, because they're in a lockdown at the moment. And there's a couple of guys over there who are just clocking up the Ks. And it's interesting banner because you can take these little screenshots of where you sit, and then you just put it on one of those writers groups and just get people talking about it. And yeah, it's fun. And it's good to do it internally too. Like I know you and I have had a bit of back and forth over recent times.
I was getting stuck into the leaderboard, and then I just happened to leave my board at work when lockdown hit.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck at home for a week with no board at all, just watching you on the leaderboard going up and up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really need to get out.
Yeah.
But I got one now, so
yeah. Well,
out.
there's no excuse. And I think, not to mention, I think it's good that, I'm out there riding, and I'm like truly riding, like getting into it and showing the community how it's done. It's just get out there, have fun, and enjoy the product and different ways you can use it. I've been commuting, I've been riding for fun, just on grass. It's been awesome.
You've said you saw a few Evolve boards getting around?
Yes, I have actually. Yes, around sort of Cooley area. I've definitely ridden past quite a few people, and actually it was last Sunday, and I reckon I went past about 8 different Evolve guys and a few carbons, a few bamboos.
I had a Gen 2 pass me. I was sitting on the ground, and yeah, he was cruising past. That board must be 6 years old.
Oh, wow. With the single motor?
Yep.
Was it a carbon?
Bamboo. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's still going strong.
Yeah.
Let's get stuck into a few questions. We took it to Instagram and just asked the community, ask us anything. So we got a whole bunch of random questions about all manner of things. The first one was a girl called Jamie, and she asked a few different questions here. First of all, she said, did the founders have a business before Evolve, and are they still around? So this is the right person to talk to. He's still around. She said, were you nervous when you started the business because the sport wasn't what it is today? It was a lot smaller. And then how did it feel to get the business to this stage?
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're really big questions. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. Before Evolve, yes, I had my own business. I had a structural landscaping business, which it started. I've had it for about 7 years until then I transitioned to Evolve. But it started as because I lost my job as I used to be in a human resource management. That's where I did a business degree. I got educated, did the HR thing, got my first HR jobs, which I absolutely hated. I'm so not a HR person. I'm definitely good with people, but not trying to deal with constant problems all day. And anyway, I worked for a couple of big companies, and I lost both of my HR jobs. I got fired from both of them, and not specifically because for the poor work I was doing, but the business was at a funny stage, and I just got fed up with the corporate, and I just wanted to work for myself, and I just did a complete backflip, and like literally all in the same week. This is no shit. This is what happened. I lost my job, and they said you can contract and you can work at the location. So I lost my job. I moved in with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, by the way. We just moved in together, and like literally a day later, she said that she was pregnant. And so I lost my job. Yeah. Found out I was becoming a dad. Didn't know what I was doing. And it was like one of those holy shit moments. Where to from here? And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Maybe sort of step up, and I was forced in a corner and really had to just work out what I wanted to do, and I just wanted to be free. I was over that corporate stuff, and so then I ended up just going, right, I'm just going to mow some lawns. Why not? I see these guys getting around. They're working for themselves. That must be a good free feeling.
It's the easiest way to work for yourself.
Yep. So I just made some flyers, and I handed all these flyers out. I had $2,000. I bought like a mower, whippersnipper, hedge trimmer, and then I made all these flyers. I door knocked, and then I got my first job, and it was through this real estate agency, and they paid me $700, and I had 2 days work, and I had to clear out all these weeds in the back of this rental property. It was so hard, the hardest work, but I felt so good after it. It was like, wow, I just made $700 in 2 days, and meanwhile, I another day's work, and I would have been earning more doing this than I was in my HR job. So it was a good reflection, and just grew from there. And then I realized that lawn mowing was not enough. I wanted to do the proper landscaping, when you're doing pavers and garden design and beautifying things from scratch. Because I was getting a lot of people asking, these jobs, oh, can you do this and you can do that? And I was like, no, I can't, but I suppose I could if I, went out and learnt. And so I got on YouTube and did my own sort of research. As you do, you can learn anything on YouTube. And that's where it started. I got educated, and then 3 years down the track, I was a licensed landscaper, and I had ended up having a full gang of people working for us, and Fleur, my wife, she's also had her own business as well. She was a graphic designer, and she was doing a lot of sort of graphic design artwork and had her own sort of online store. And then that's where it started. Like
that's how Evolve got started. If you want to know what happened from there onwards, we got a Behind the Brand by Evolve Skateboards on our YouTube channel, and it's got all visuals of the stuff you were talking about too.
Yeah.
So if you want an even deeper look at that, jump on YouTube, watch that video.
I could talk for ages on this, but I mean, to wrap it up, the question is, where are we now? Like back then, and even when we first started Evolve, there was no expectations to, make something really big. It's always been about trying to make something that's fun, that's cool, that I enjoy riding. And the intentions were never to have a massive company out of it. So it's exceeded, my wildest dreams, that's for sure. And it's been very hard. It's still hard. We're constantly battling every day to, make the business better. But it's a very unique business. There's not many of them around like us, and there's been a lot of people have come and gone through our industry, and it's been an exciting journey, man. Like one day I'm gonna write a book on this, and we can tell all the stories. It's gonna be cool. Even this lockdown border stuff.
That could be a whole chapter.
Yeah, that's Fleur and I talked about it the other night. It's like, oh yeah, okay, this would be chapter 25, lockdown.
That'd be right. All right, let's move on. It's sort of related. Oliver asked, what were the specs of the first board? So let's say that first 50 you produced.
Oh, okay, the first 50. Well, okay, that was the Pintail and Snubnose series. Yeah, love that series of boards. There's one hanging up in our wall at work. Okay, the specs were lithium-ion battery. They were the flat pack cells. It was a 7 amp hour battery. It was about probably 28 mil in height. That's how thick the case was. And there were 200 watt motors, single motors, and they were brushless too.
Yeah, they were really big. We'll put up a photo, like it went the whole way across the back of the board. You couldn't have two.
No. I reckon it was like the size of a Coke can, but in a square shape. And they were like bricks. Like literally, they were so tough. You could just, and they used to get beaten up and the motor originally on the first series boards, they were positioned in front of the truck. And because we had the double kingpin, we had to extend the motor quite a fair way out in front of the truck so it didn't actually hit the truck during a turn. And so the motor plate was quite long. But yeah, those motors used to get beaten up. Yeah, because they're in front of the truck and they weren't tucked right in, any lip that you come across during your ride, that was the first thing to get hit. So we used to bust a few motor plates because of that. Yeah, we had to really get it right in terms of the design.
What were we talking in terms of top speed and range on that board?
Oh, yep. Okay, top speed was around 36 kilometers per hour. So, we've always kept it around that. I think that's a fast enough speed. And they were only street boards. So for the first few years of Evolve, it was only ever urethane. And we prided ourselves in the beginning of having a couple of different drive gears. These were different gear adapters. And we were the first that were doing this. We were interchanging these drive gears, allowing us to use a variety of wheels. It was like the Sector 9 wheels, the Buston wheels, or the ABEC 11 wheels. And it had a special core, and then as long as that wheel had that core, you could put it on our gear. But back around the time when we first launched, all those designs were coming out of China, and the gear was part of the hub, so you can never really pull it out and put proper urethane on it. And that was one of our sort of claim to fames back in 2010, 2011, is that the interchangeable gears and wheels and the endless options. And so range was still pretty damn good. Anything on urethane, you get massive performance, and it was around 25, 28, sometimes 30K. It's pretty good, man, at the end of the day.
I guess with 300 watt motor, it's not drawing.
That was a 200 watt
200
motor.
watt.
200 watt, 7 amp hour. And and the boards were pretty light too. They were like 9 kilos at the time. And back then, it's funny, the industry has had a bit of a shift. back around between 2011 and to 2015, it was always about how light the board is. It was about trying to keep it as small and light as possible, but obviously the most amount of performance. There's certainly been a shift since then.
Well, that would make the Hadian 30 times more powerful, plus higher voltage. So it's a lot of times to put under a board.
Yeah. It's turned into like a proper race car, compared to what it was back then. But it was a beautiful ride. That's the thing that I love that pintail board. I love the custom artwork that was underneath it. And on the snub nose, it had this monkey, had this big spliff hanging out of his mouth, and it was just.
I saw this again recently, and it sort of made sense for this whole pandemic. Do you remember what the quote was that was on it?
Oh my gosh,
I'll have to look it up. It was something about a world of chaos, or it was something along those lines, and I thought it was very fitting.
Oh man,
what we're going through right now.
It'll come to me soon. Yeah, I can't quite remember at the moment, but that monkey was pretty famous. We did use it on some shirts and different artwork, and there's a couple tattoos going around with that monkey on it.
Yeah, Mac Lowball's got a big one on his leg.
Yes, yes he does.
Akhil asked us, why do we not have front and rear lights on the Hadian, just the inbuilt LEDs?
Okay, yeah, good question. We did toy around with trying to get lights into where your feet stand. The board sort of fans out the front and back. Where we've got the badges. Originally, in the earliest concepts, we actually drew some cutouts there for like some front and rear lights. But what we thought was because we couldn't be confident how much power we could put out through there. Worried about serviceability, but considering there's so many aftermarket light options, if we come out with a light that's built into the board that doesn't give that much of a light off, it's probably not worth having it. So that was definitely one of the reasons why. And then it was just getting a bit bulky too. So then that's when we decided to get rid of that and turn it into more of like a vehicle where we had some badges designed into it. I've definitely seen some questions about what are those badges. It's some high performance cars. When you open the car doors, you look down, you'll see that there's like special badges down there. That's the reason for that Evolve badge that's integrated into the deck. Yeah. It's built off, high performance cars.
It's not a button. It's just pure aesthetics, and it does look awesome. It's a similar finish to what you see on the base plate badge.
Yeah, and it's the same finish that's on the phase remote.
Yeah.
So they all work together. But no, the integrated lights, you've got all the shred lights. They're so great. They give off such a large light, and we're best keeping it like that.
Yeah, and I know myself. I don't like riding with lights for some reason. I just like my board to be stealthy.
Yeah.
So I would not have them on anyway, and then I'd rather it just be sleek. And if you want to add tread lights, at least you can add them on the top. You get a little bit more height as well, which would let you get a better spread.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much why it's.
I actually did a ride the other night. It was it was like 4 a.m. I had to skate somewhere, and I wanted to keep the lights off on the board, and it was good. It was like I just switch them straight off on the remote and just keep it stealth mode, just like the GTR is, and except when you obviously apply the brake, that's when the lights turns up like a Christmas tree. But
all right, Luke has asked us, what would be the best board to carry around a city or ride around a city but be able to carry it?
Okay, all right. So the first thing that comes to mind was definitely the Stoke for portability, and it's so small, it's so easy to hold next to you when you're standing up, throw under your arm, put it into places, and it's just convenient. It's such a fun ride too, and that's the first thing that I would think of for portability. But as we all know, when you ride in cities, you ride on different terrain, and there's different lips, there's cobblestones, there's people, and then there's circumstances during your ride where you might have to try. You've got always think ahead, and then you might have to quickly go this way or that way to, dodge whatever. This is a big debate. I think for commuting, I always use all terrain. That's just it, because I don't have to think. I can go anywhere I want. I can even go off gutters if I want. It'll get me where I need to go. Whereas when you're on urethane, you have to be more precious and you have to be more careful. In a city, depending on how far you ride and how well you know your route, I think you could get away with a Stoke, definitely. But if you've got some bad terrain in front of you, I'd consider probably going more of maybe a 6-inch style wheel, or just the normal ATs. What do you think?
I agree. I think an all-terrain's probably the go-to. The Stoke's got a lot of benefits. It is smaller.
The kicktail is rad.
The kicktail, I was going to say. So that's going to help you get off gutters as well.
Yeah.
And also just pivot if you need to get around really tight places. And also the price point. If you're looking for an easy way to get into the office, like it's a cheaper entry. So you can just grab that board, not spend so much money and go. I don't think weight plays that much of a difference, because the Stoke's 7.8 kilos, the GTR is like 12. So an extra 4 kilos doesn't make it or break it for me. Like it's almost nothing when you're carrying it around.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's only when you're carrying it you feel the weight. Most of the time you're going to be riding it. But
yeah, if you need to jump off to carry it up a set of stairs, carrying 7 kilos compared to 12 kilos doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, the only thing that really makes a difference is the bigger wheels and the size of it. It's a bit more cumbersome to hold or carry.
Yeah, if
compared
you're on a
to
bus
the Stoke
or something like that, maybe, and you have to stash it under a seat. Yeah, the Stoke is a lot shorter. And you can stand with a straight arm and it doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Stoke. Standing right next to you when you're standing up, it just works, and you can just hold that, that front truck.
We had a few people ask this, so we've covered it, I think, twice in previous podcasts, but we'll go over it again. When should people expect the phase to be available for GTR or Stoke boards? People are still asking, will it be available? Yes, it will be.
Yeah.
But when?
Yeah, like you said, yes, it will be. We're definitely going to make it available as soon as we can. Our first priority, however, at the moment is making sure that the phase can support our Haitian production. Like we'll be in a pretty bad position if we all of a sudden get a demand of 10,000 remotes when we need those remotes for our Haitian boards. We can't supply both at the same time. We're not in that capacity just yet. But I think, once we get through our first few batches of boards, and we're caught up, and our assembly is getting faster and faster because we're understanding how to better put it together. That's when I think we'll be in a better position to answer that.
I wanted to talk about some of the things that Evolve don't offer that you would or wouldn't be interested in doing in the future. So,
Right.
we have a pretty big offering. Let's start with wheels, right?
Okay.
So we have quite a few sizes, but there's other sizes on the market, other styles. Is there any other wheels or even gears that you'd be interested in exploring?
Look, I'd be definitely interested in exploring a few different sizes of drive gears, different teeth sort of variations. At the moment, we got the 32 and we got the 38 tooth. Some in between sizes, because we all know that makes a difference to how the board performs with acceleration, braking, and range. So I'd be interested in that. As for different wheel sizes, so we currently offer the 97 that we actually make, as well as the ABEC 107. I would definitely explore like a slightly larger diameter. And even slightly smaller than 97, there's definitely a good place for the smaller urethane wheel. It's got a complete different ride and a lot more whippy, and it can become quite playful.
Were the GTs on 90 mils at one stage? Bamboo GT Street?
No, they were the 97s. But we definitely used to work with ABEC a fair bit. We used to offer the 90 mils with the ABEC, the 97 size as well.
The black one with orange, they were 90 because the GTX had 97s on it.
Yeah,
but the Bamboo GT had. I remember we had.
I remember we had
stage.
so many of those. Yeah, they were about. I'm pretty sure they were 90 mil. Or were they 85s?
I think they were 90. Anyway,
yeah,
we can look back into it. But it could be cool to go back to something like that, but use the better formula that we have now that we use in our 97s.
Yeah. There's always a place for that.
What about like even within the 97 mil lineup, doing something with different hardnesses?
Yeah.
Or
different shapes as well. In terms of sticking to the 97 and playing around with the lip, and the gap between where the edge of the wheel is and where the hub meets, playing around with the thickness there, because I know that offers a complete different ride. And you look at the orangutans and how we know the performance works there with the different shape of the wheels. So I think I'd certainly like to explore that, but we all know, actually I'm not sure if we all know, but we know that manufacturing of the wheels at the moment is pretty tough going, and there's a shortage supply of core componentry materials to make wheels, and so
I'm sure most people don't know that. I think everyone knows about the batteries and the microprocessors,
right.
But even like raw materials like urethane.
For the urethane at the moment, it's very challenging for the longboard industry and skateboards, and it's been so hard to get product. So trying to come out with something crazy and new right now, when it's a bit up in the air in terms of what you can and can't get, it's a bit risky. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to do it. Like we're always open to different things, and when it comes to making the board look and perform differently.
Since day one, Evolve boards have always been double kingpin. Mm-hmm. What do you think about now we have an actual lineup of offering different styles of trucks within the range?
Yeah, definitely. I'm certainly open to exploring that as well. I've thought about making more of a downhill race style board. Coming out with our own different version of trucks for the reverse kingpin or anything like that. I don't want to give all our future product ideas away, but it's always been on the cards for us.
I mean, there's that many different trucks out there now. Like single kingpins, a reverse. Yeah. You got like channel trucks, and even the width of the hanger as well would make quite a big difference.
Yeah.
Going to a wider one or a narrower one.
Yeah.
So
completely changes the ride. And as long as it all still comes down to the ride and what our core brand values are about, then if it fits within this and we actually like it, then it's worth 100%. It's worth exploring.
So going on from that, I guess those core things that we've always done since day one, what else would we sort of play around with?
Look, there's the other drive options as well in terms of wheels. Like, over the years you've seen all the hub motors. They've been quite popular. And more so lately it's the gear-on-gear style. I think both of these are exciting products as well. And there's pros and cons for each one. So doesn't necessarily mean that we won't consider going down that path. I love the idea of I like them having motors inside wheels. Come on, it's so cool to think that you can't see the motors, you don't have belts, and but then it's just making sure that you don't have overheat problems, and then you risk all the performance of acceleration and then the urethane. You've just got to get that urethane right, and you don't have much urethane either.
Yeah, well, I mean, anyone that's in any of the skateboard groups has seen a lot of those sort of things, especially with the hub drive. And that's it. Everything has its pros and cons. The gear-on-gear drive, I rode a board and it was horrendously loud.
That concerns me a lot about that as well. I've seen it been in plenty of rides before, and DIY is coming out with this and that, and it's great. And I can see the added performance. You get instant sort of feedback and depending on your gear ratio setup and what current and size motors you're using, will affect the performance. So there's a lot of benefits there, but there's also the noise factor is that sort of gets to me a little bit.
As the power of our boards sort of just keep going up and up, is there like a limit to the belts? Because, do we have to go to fatter belts, or is there anything that we have to consider if we keep punching the power out of these boards?
We've just got to keep working with the best quality belt manufacturer in the business, and that's Gates. We've been working with them a long time, and we're using the GT3 style, which is the reinforced. It's the best of the best. We haven't seen any belts break yet on our Hadians. We've been riding these a long time. So, look, I think the more power you put through it, it's something certainly to consider.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Hadians aren't there yet. I was bombing hills just up the road on the weekend, and I was full brakes at 47k an hour, and the belts are fine.
Yeah.
So there's no need to worry just yet. But
yeah, well, those GT3 belts, mate, they're awesome, totally reinforced.
What about any other options we can do inside the firmware? One that always pops up is reverse. We've had reverse in the past.
Yes, we used to have reverse in the past, and probably wasn't in a great position as well on how you could access it on the remote. With, look, I the only benefit I see for reverse is potentially, especially on the scroll thumb wheel, I can see where if you're rocking up to lights or something and you just want to move back a little bit, you go back the other way. I see that is a benefit. But I don't see any reverse as a good thing for our product. I've never wanted to use it ever. That's just me. I'm sure there's many other eSKATers out there who are thinking something completely different, but I don't know. I can't see how it'll work in with our Hadians. What do you think?
I think full reverse is super dangerous. I've been on a couple rides, especially with the thumb style remotes, where you can just go backwards.
If you go too far.
If it loses traction, the brakes turn into reverse when you're not used to it, and that can be super dangerous. There's a few boards where you have to do some weird combo on the remote. You got to like double click this button or hold this down, then it goes to reverse.
Okay.
If you do that accidentally, again, it's going to be a bad time.
And that how it was on our remotes as well. You had to double click a certain button, and then
Yeah, so I guess it ruins the ergonomics, because you want anything that's going to be in there to work seamlessly.
Yeah,
very ergonomic.
Makes sense.
What I have seen lately is the smart reverse feature, which a few people have started putting in their boards in the DIY scene.
Yep.
And it's pretty much safe mode backwards. So, and you have to be at a complete stop for a couple seconds. I think for the people that are stopped at a set of lights, it may help solve their sort of daily need for it.
Yeah.
Without being a full blown sort of reverse feature.
Yeah, it's up to the user at the end of the day, and I don't think it's a big thing for us. I don't think we'll be bringing reverse into our product anytime soon. Yeah.
So we just spec'd everything up pretty big time for the Hadian. Looking forward to the future, where do you see the limits? Like, what would be the highest speed and the highest range that you'd want to put into a board?
That to make it commercial for anyone to purchase?
Yeah, I mean, without putting yourself too far in a niche or...
Yeah. I don't think we are going to spec the board to go really any faster, top end. It's just too dangerous. But, we could do something internally. I think speccing it out to have more, more oomph and more range is definitely possible. So, I mean, come on, AT 40K, that's huge, man. Like you want to get it after 20K on the board, 25K, that's a lot of riding, and you've still got plenty of power left in the tank on this board. So I think, it's a trade-off. If we put more cells in this, the board's going to grow in size. it'll lose the appeal aesthetically. I think maybe, you turn it into a 5P, but then it's going to grow quite large in length. Or you start looking at double stacking, then it's going to grow taller in height, thicker. I don't know, maybe 50K, 60K, AT.
I feel
or
that
would we just go the opposite and just go, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it.
I was going to say
make
that.
it fucking big.
Don't wreck the Hadean sort of thing. I feel like a lot of people that want that board, like they might say they want more range, but they don't want the added stuff that comes with that. The weight, the price, the size. So it's almost like a two-board thing. So if someone is that dedicated that they want a board that can do 80 kilometers, maybe something for them. But then it comes back to how many people legitimately really actually do that. I think a better solution would be like a super fast charger. If you could do, we know the cells can handle a faster charge rate in this. So if you could do something that could top it up to 50, 60, 70% within like the hour, that would get you out of trouble because you sit down for coffee and boom, now you have another 30 kilometers.
It's true.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper solution. And then for all that time you're not using that cells, you're not riding around a 20 kilo board. You're not carrying weight you're not using.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And then, speed we already covered. 50 kilometers on the street board.
It's scary.
It's scary.
Yeah. It's quite scary. You're going quick and you're thinking, hang on for dear life. Are my trucks tight enough? Don't fall off.
Yeah, I think that's a max on double kingpin. Like it just seems any faster than that, and it's a carve board. Like that's not what it is for.
Yeah, that's right.
I put out a thing on the stories the other day after I did the podcast with our newest ambassador, Colorado Caddy.
Yep.
And it was a bit of a call out saying, hey, are you or do you know anyone that is super influential in the scene that we need to know about? I gave our email out and I said, email us and tell us what you're all about. You guys blew up the email a little bit. I'll be honest, haven't had the chance to go through all of them yet. There's literally like over 100.
Interesting. Awesome.
So I thought I wanted to at least address it a little bit on here and go a bit deeper into what we're looking for out of an ambassador.
Okay.
Apart from what I said on the story. So like I said, it's not about having a ton of followers. We're not looking for like the influencer types. We're looking for the type of people that that guy in the community that is...
Or girl.
That guy or girl, sorry. We have like quite a few girl ambassadors. That is the one bringing the passion. They're a driving force in making group rides happen, or they're out there just all over the online groups. They're just very influential to that niche and they're making something happen in their region.
Yeah, and level-headed too, there's a lot of super passionate people out there who are not always going to fit with what we want. So I think, having a guy or girl who's very level-headed, who's smart, who's passionate, and communicates well, it's important as well.
If you jump on the last podcast we did, I'll keep using him as an example because he's great, Colorado Caddy. That guy really lives and breathes eSKATE. Yep. So I understand like there's a lot of people that go out skating and people talk to them and they tell them all about their Evolve, which is great. We love that. That's how the whole brand grew. But ambassadorship's like a little bit deeper than that. We're really looking for people that committed to like spreading what this sport is all about. Yeah. So have a think. If you've already emailed us, but after that you think there's some more you can add to what you sent through, send it through. We'll check it all out.
I think that's a key one too, trying to grow the sport and get electric skateboarding out there. It's so fun. There's so many things you can do with it, and I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, and I want to see as much as you can to show me what you're talking about. So if there is local groups like, within your city or your university or whatever it is, send me the group, tell me how many people are in it, how often do you do group rides, who's running them, what's everyone riding, like all those things is important. And sometimes it's not sort of you, it's going to be us. For instance, we had a bunch of people apply that are in Southern California, and we already have 2 ambassadors in San Diego. So it's more on us that we're not looking for more people in that space. So if you're in an area where we're trying to sort of grow, that's going to be beneficial to both you and us.
Yeah. And this could be any country at the end of the day.
Yeah, or any country we can service as well.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple from like smaller countries like India or some places in South America that we don't have the ability to service.
Yeah.
Which then again, that's on us, not you, nothing to do with you guys.
That's true.
But yeah, hit us up. We'll get back to everyone pretty soon.
Cool.
That'll probably do us. That was a long one of all sorts of chit chat.
Yeah,
so.
that was fun. Yeah, we're going to keep doing these during lockdown if it keeps cranking for the next few weeks.
Well, we haven't missed a podcast yet. This is episode 19.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we got to get out riding, man. If we keep getting stuck in here, the more I want to ride.
Right. See you next time.